What's going on, Paisanos? V here. Today I'm coming with you with my undefeated, broke the curse, local core TCG, my Shaddoll type profile. And I really want to talk about this because I made a lot of changes as far as the way I play the deck and the way the deck is, and I really feel like I'm maximizing, the amount of plays I can do every game with this deck. And I think that's very important. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the main side extra, and then we'll give you guys my reasonings. Alright. So for the main, we'll go over the doll lineup. We got 2 Squamata, 2 Wendy, 2 Hedgehog. For the Unos, you got your Beast, you got your Ariel, and you got your Dragon. That's the entire Shaddoll package. You don't need anything else. By the way, this is Shaddoll Invoked, no Dogmatica. And I'll explain that in a bit. Alright. Up next, hand chop lineup. You got Triple Ash, Triple Phantasme, and Triple Lancia. So I said it before and I'll say it again. Lancia is probably my, probably my favorite card to run over Nibiru in this deck, and the reason why is because we're not trying to go Nibiru and hopefully they don't have any responses. That's wishful thinking. What we're doing with Lancia is we're slowing down the entire game state of our opponent's plays. By doing that, what happens is our opponent is forced to make the board they don't ideally want to make. And this deck is great at breaking boards. If you guys haven't checked out my other videos on this channel, I played against a bunch of variations of decks, L-Link, Dragon-Links, and they make their entire board, and this deck walks right through it. It doesn't matter. By playing Lancia, it allows you to slow them down. Also, when Nibiru, it's only good against certain matchups. With Lancia, it's good against almost anything. I mean, L-Lick, stopping the trap cards. Bird Up, stopping them from getting to that level where they can start banishing cards in the graveyard to use their effects. Dragon-Links, just slowing them down. Chaos Space is almost useless in that deck, other than adding a card to your hand by getting rid of a card, I guess. But for the most part, this card's really good, and I really do like that a lot, and it's definitely a card to play moving forward. Phantasme is another card people are questioning, and the reason why I like Phantasme a lot is because you don't always draw the best hand. Play this deck for a while, you'll know you don't always draw the best hand. Phantasme allows you to cycle. Also, as extra body on board for another monster, I'll show you in a second. And Ash Blossom is just the most generic hand trap in the game, so you gotta play that. And then we run for our last part on monster count, 3 Alistair. Just 3 Alistair, maybe simple. Alright, so that's our monster lineup. For our spell lineup, we got 3 Shaddoll Fusions, 2 L Shaddoll Fusions, 3 Magical Meltdown, 2 Invocation, 3 Sewer Polys, 1 Upstart, Terraforming, Call by the Grave, Foolish Burial, and then for our trap lineup is Shaddoll Incarnation, Schism. Alright, so let's go over this. So I see some builds that play 3 El Shaddoll Fusions. I think that's terrible. And the reason why is because you open 2, you go -1. Don't get me wrong. It's the same thing with Shaddoll Fusion, except you always want to see Shaddoll Fusion in your hand, especially if you're going second. So I'd rather this going second because if my opponent has extra monster out there, it has free resources, especially with Meltdown on board. 2 of these in hand, you're not really getting free resources. You technically went -1 in a deck that's very resource based. So that's why I like 2. Invocations at 2, I think are pretty standard. Everything else is pretty standard. Upside Goblin's another card that I decided to run. I always go back and forth between a 3rd El Shaddoll, 3rd Instant Fusion, and I'll tell you right now, the 3rd Upstart definitely beats them all. This is all you need to run. Make the deck 39 cards, have more better of a chance to not brick. So that's really important. Obviously, you run Terraforming, Call by the Grave, and Foolish, and 3 Sewer Polys, and that is insane. Okay, up next for our trap lineup is Schism and Shaddoll. There's another Shaddoll trap that's ran, but I feel like it's better in the trap variant. In this variant, it's not as good, so I don't run it. Once Schism is more than enough, and Shaddoll Incarnation, I usually side out going game 2 for the most part, but game 1, it does come up a lot, and it's a phenomenal card. Alright, so let's go over to the extra deck. We got 2 Constructs, 2 App Cologne, and 2 Winter. No matter how you do your extra deck, I feel like for any Shaddoll variant, especially if you're using 2 engines, I feel like everyone's playing 6 Shaddolls. The difference is, some people like to take the App Cologne out and make it into a 3rd Construct. And I don't like that. I like the variety of App Cologne versus a 3rd Construct. If you play your resources correctly, you really don't need a 3rd Construct. If I had a 16th slot, would I put a 3rd Construct in? Yeah, I would absolutely put a 3rd Construct in for a 16th slot. No doubt in my mind. But with that said, I do like this ratio, and I think it's the perfect ratio for the deck. Then we have invoked monsters. So we have a Caliga, Purgatrio, Rajin, Mechaba, and Ogordes. This is our invoked package of the deck. And it's crazy how one card can in a way, access almost all of these. Caligula's the newest addition to the deck. It's not as high impact, but you don't need it to be if it can slow your opponent down. Also, there's times where you have only dark monsters out, so Caligula does come up. Caligula plus Winda, and your opponent doesn't have like a Dark Rule no more. They're not playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And if they're not playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, they're in a world of hurt. The defensive Caligula is 1800 with Alistair added back to your hand. It can become 28. 28 Caligula or 32 Winda, pretty strong. And a lot of decks, like I said, they don't have the immediate answer, has to pay. So that's why I like Caligula. Purgatory helps you end the game. I still like Rajin. I know some people were iffy on Rajin. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Rajin's insane. Besides playing against like Bird Up in general, the fact that this deck has a lot of flip effects makes Rajin just a better card. If we had a 17 slot in our deck, we would play a second mecha, but we don't, so we're not going to. And then we have Ogoys, which is an insanely good card. All right, up next, we also play the one-star Red Future Dragon because we run Artemis, Run Anaconda, and Gravity Controller. So remember I said before about how Phantasme was like one piece of a comp. Like, you get Phantasme in any summon, even like an Astro summon, you immediately get access to Verde Anaconda. You go, you could have Phantasme, summon Astro effect, link Astro away into Artemis, then you can link it both away, and then you can go into Anaconda. You just got a ton of value, and you don't necessarily need to activate this immediately. Just to put it on board for one summon, that can also get you another summon is pretty huge. And obviously, you need to play Gravity Control if you're playing. I was running before and I took it out, the Predator and Traxapelio, and the reason why is because Anaconda can make one of my opponent's monsters dark. So if I send Steel Poly, Starfighter Fusion Dragon just needs 2 dark monsters. Also, if your opponent blows it up, it destroys all special summon monsters on your opponent's side of the field. Doesn't always come up, but it's also a good thing to note as well. And of course, the ability to take your opponent's monsters, target one of them, and gain attack, that also doesn't come up. But you know what? It's also something that it does, and I kind of like having more options with my cardboard. Traxapelio is not a bad card, but I feel like this is better. Okay, let's go right into the side deck, because this is probably the hardest part of this entire deck. Siding's easy to do. It's hard to decide what you want when you're building the side deck. So we're siding Nibiru's, and this is pretty much autopilot. The reason why we're siding Nibiru's and not maining it, like I said earlier, it's because of Lancia. Most games we swap Nib and Lancias back and forth, depending on the game state. If you play against Dragon Links, maybe you want to keep like 2 Lancias in, maybe. But no matter what, you definitely want to put Nibiru in that game. So that's why it's in the side, not in the main. Also, this card's terrible against Eldritch. Once again, Lancia's better. Anyway, up next for trap cards, and only trap cards, it's Evenly Matched. Great card against a lot of decks in the game right now. A lot of decks aren't really ready for this. No one's really siding into like Judgments, or if people are siding like Lancias, this will bait a Lancia out, so your Invocation can stay in your hand if you have the Invoked engine in. So this card's like pretty much an exchange for a Lancia, and you still get to keep your Invoke, which is pretty huge. Also, the thing about Evenly Matched, it's just really good against a lot of slower other pace decks. Shaddoll Mirror matches, Eldritch variants, anything. It blows them out the water. And once their deck is cleaned out, you can easily go ahead and create your board, and then you're immediately ahead on resources. Because when playing this deck, and if you guys do decide to play this deck, which I recommend you do, it's the best deck in the meta. You're gonna find yourself playing majority of games being resource-based games. You're not looking to kill your opponent immediately. You're just looking to have more resources. You won't be able to kill your opponent immediately. So if you can't kill someone immediately in this game, you got to go right to the resource spaces. How can I make it so you have the minimum amount of things you can do? Meanwhile, I maximize the amount of things I can do. It's very simple, but that's the thing you always got to be thinking about when you're playing this deck. You make a mistake, you're probably going to lose the game. You do good, you're probably going to get rewarded. I went X1 for the past couple of weeks. I make a lot of mistakes, but that teaches you and makes you a better player. And that's what I like about this deck. Once again, Evenly Matched is a phenomenal card. Another card we run also with Evenly Matched is obviously 2 Lightning Storms and Harpy's Featherduster. This is something I saw in the OCG they were doing a lot of. They were playing a Harpy's Featherduster and 2 Lightning Storms. And I thought that was really cool because you don't necessarily need to run 3 Lightning Storms, Harpy's Featherduster in your deck. It's not really needed. This will do it right here. If you're playing against a deck that runs back row, you run 6 cards. Very simple, very effective. So that's it for that. Then we have 3 Triple Tactus Talents. This is my favorite card in the game. And, it just has 3 banned card effects on it. Like, obviously, it's like easily my favorite card in the game. Look at Triple Tactus Talents. I think this card is insane. Going first, it's 50-50 though. And that's the problem with this card. I don't like it going first because I'm not playing combo. Had I been playing combo, this card would be in the main deck. But going second, well, in game 2, going first or second, I feel like this card is just that much more better of a card, depending on the game state. Also, if you know your opponent's running Dragoons, run this. You bait 1 negate, you take their Dragoons, and you murder them with their own card. Meanwhile, realize the fact that I had to give 2 monsters away to go into 1 monster to pay 2,000 life points to go into a monster. And that monster will need you to basically lose 1 card in order for you to activate this and end the game. And that does come up a lot, so it's just a phenomenal card. Okay, and then we have the last 3. Now, these are the last 3 that you can decide to choose whatever you want to. My last 3 are Joel and Lockboard. I'm currently testing this out. The before Drone Lockbird was Dark Rule No More. I'm also still theorizing with some judgments, and I'm 50-50. Because here's the way I see it. Hold on. Here's the way I see it. If we use this against Dragon Links, their turn more likely is going to end. If their turn ends, we put Winda on board. We put Winda on board, Dragon Links for the most part lose unless they have Dark Rule No More and all that other jazz. But let's say they don't. They just lose, okay? Now it's one. Number two, if you're playing Judgment and you're going against Dragon Links, if you go first against Dragon Links and you do have a Winda on board, your Judgment now is going to be able to protect your Winda, because more than likely they're going to have what? Judgment, Droplets, and most decks plays that run Droplets can't pitch traps. Maybe like Burning Abyss, but other than that, any other variant that's playing Droplets is going to pitch like Monster Spell. And if you flip a Judgment on a Droplet with a Winda on board, they're ending their turn and you're winning that game. So that's the way I think about it. This is a little more so one's proactive basically, one's reactive. I know that, and that's basically what I'm doing with Drone Lockbird right now. But like I said, guys, like this is easily like my favorite card in the game. Whatever deck you're playing, I know people are debating between Droplet, Lightstorm, and Talents. Always go for Talents. It's my favorite card. Like, it's the best card. Anyway, guys, that's my deck profile right now. I really appreciate it. I'm going to have more videos of me playing against other players on this channel as well. So, if you want to see videos of me playing against other players and, you know, in remote duels, actual remote duels, not really doing a book or any of that stuff, you can go ahead and check that out. It's going to be on this channel. And make sure to subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment down below. It's your boy V. You boys all have a great day.